Hey guys, you are now tuned in into the Sanford podcast for the culture. So I need you to stop scrolling, open up your eye, and tune in.
Art is pain, art is beauty. It's only a few people who, in the space of art, that can speak and divulge or go into the subject. I am proud and I am honored to bring somebody who is special, who has been in the art community, who has been in the dimension of art for quite some time now. In fact, over 40 years. This is documented too. This is over 40 years of straight art and straight beauty. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce you, the one and only Susan Patterson from Artfromtheplanet, and also my mother. How you doing today?
Hey, sweetheart. How are you? Thank you for bringing me online with your Sanford podcast. It is a pleasure. It's so good to see family collaborate and work together. If anybody knows me, I'm strictly art. This paperwork, computer stuff, I have no patience for it. This is why I have my son who holds it down for me, gets on me. He says, "Mom, come on. We got to take these shots. Come on, Mom. I got to do this video. Come on." And once I do it, I really enjoy it. But I'm an artist down to the cells, the gray matter. I am an artist, and I am an expert when it comes to color. You're not touching the kid. I'm good. But most of all, I love what I'm doing. And it's truly a gift from God. And I'm so pleased, even down to the name of the business. It came from on high. So it gives me everything to come here and take this time on a Sunday afternoon and talk to you about this art. So I'm going to turn it back to my son because he's got all these questions he wants to ask me. And so let's go.
I definitely have plenty of questions to ask you. And the first question I definitely want to start off with is art. Everything in life evolves. Nothing stands still. Everything has motion. So I say that to say this because art from 30 years ago and art today, are they in the same dimension? Do you feel like there's some kind of polarity between in terms of do you feel like there's some kind of polarity to it? Do you feel like there's some kind of different worlds between the art from back then and art today? And how do you feel about the art today in terms of the way it's expressed?
Well, art has always been art. It's always been on the planet. It depends on who's looking at the art. What one person will see, another person may not. But now we're in a very visual time, and people are kind of waking up and feeling like they have permission to express themselves. So things they would not normally do, they know it's okay. So we're seeing things that have been hidden in that brain for years, maybe even down in the DNA, passed on, and it's just come to life. So for instance, my grandfather was a shoemaker, and I just forgot about what Papa did. But here I am doing shoes. So it's in the blood, the blood speaks. So when I'm dealing with a lot of indigenous people, it's very it's I'm not gonna say it's funny, but it's always the same message. And what I mean by that, they always start out with black and white. Always.
Why do you think it's that?
That's I really don't know. And from there color evolved. Well, if you look at the color black has all the colors in it. It's not just black.
Let's talk about it.
Okay? It's almost like the rainbow. You look at one spectrum was pure white, and the other spectrum is black. That's why they call us the rainbow people, because we have so many different variations within the culture, within the race. It's there. So I don't think that art has really changed. I just think people are now, they feel more comfortable in expressing it. And the elements, see, the elements are there. The elements have always been there. You look at nature, you will see all the colors that are being used. I don't see anything that's been created. It's there. And on high, there are colors that we don't even know about. Our eyes are not trained to see those other spectrums. So you hear of people who thought they passed on, and they always come back and they talk about these colors that you don't see here. So I'm real curious about what those colors are, but every once in a while you get a glimpse of something just a little different. But it's all about blending. We're all blended here, and we need to understand we're not that different. And color is just color.
It's funny you mentioned that. And the reason I say that is because I was looking at something on YouTube, and some guy, I don't approve of his message, but something that resulted and came out of it was very triggering. It was like wow. So the guy he talks about, he talks about substances, and he talks about how marijuana and LSD, which is sort of like I guess some type of dope, a hallucinogen. Yeah. And he's talking about how certain natives, especially within the Brazilian rainforests, how they were using certain these substances, and they were going to, and he said, quote unquote, they were going into these dimensions, and they were coming back with some very, very profound, vivid images. Some of them were drawn. It's like some of the stuff was just very wild, but it was just like so crazy. But it was interesting at the same point. So.
See, one of the things they use is peyote. But you see, if peyote is a substance they use for ceremony, and again it's like people might want to call it LSD or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But people do see these things, and what happens is different centers of the brain are opened, are more exposed. Remember, we only use 10% of our brain power. I mean, if we use 15, I think we'd be floating. I mean, it's just like, it is what it is. But I think that through, this is going to be kind of metaphysical, but I think through meditation and deep prayer, certain things will be revealed to you. That I'm positive about, because I can be sleeping and then something comes to me about a design, and for the life of me, this is not something I would normally think about in day-to-day human living. And so I keep a sketch pad by my bedside, and I'm able to write it down and go back to sleep. But it's funny because I'm a designer, but I think I'm more of a colorist than a designer. Whenever I'm on the train, I do have a regular job. I'm always looking at people, and I'm looking at color. I'm looking at how they're dressed, and sometimes why are they putting that color on? That's not their color. There's basically 4 waves of color. Either your spring, summer, fall, or winter. And I learned this from this book called Color Me Beautiful years ago, and it's pretty true. And there's some people that can wear or use these colors in their environment as well as their person. Not too many people can use several levels of the colors, but there are a few. This depends on your pigment. But to be honest with you, I don't know a woman that does not look good in pink. Don't. Variations of pink, but women look good in pink and men look good in blue. They do. And a lot of men look good in pink. So, but you see, we have both organs in us anyway, so it all works together anyway. So, but I think that I'm going to talk a little bit more about color. Color for me is powerful. And depending on what I am dealing with or going through, I will tend to use certain colors of power. And within certain cultures, you'll see red and you'll see indigo. Those are power colors on this planet, period. Period.
Indigo, okay.
Yeah, with indigo, you have like 43, I think there might be more, but at least 43 shades of indigo. And generally speaking, in red, you'll have a blue red or orange red. The blue red is a very powerful color, and you'll see this used in various cultures. When I'm dealing with any kind of stressful situation, legal, whatever, I am going to put red on. And if anybody knows me, they know that I deal with the beautiful Kuna people off the coast of Panama. And I'm considered a black Kuna. And I'm wrapped. And anybody knows me, they know that my wrist, my right hand is always wrapped. Sometimes I have both wrapped. And I always have red in it because I'm always dealing with things. And that's not negative, because dealing with stuff means you're learning. You know, you're getting some wisdom. You're getting some of the power tools that you need to sustain yourself on this planet.
Right.
So I use red. I use red quite a bit, but I also am in love with indigo in a major way. But I feel real good with red. But I don't, believe it or not, I don't use red like in my bedroom because it would be too stimulating for me. I use more neutral colors. Your room, your bedroom, it should represent your womb. That's where you rest. You know, you're in your mother's womb for at least 9 months where it's dark, and I'm sure the baby can see shades of red and some brown and black. That's what should be in your bedroom, you know, and you will rest so peacefully in that kind of environment. Mm-hmm. So let's go on, because I can just take this to some other levels.
Yeah, because I have some other questions for you. Okay, so my next question for you is, wow, because I don't know if you realize this, but the Sanford podcast is a platform in the community for, I have 4 things, thinkers, doers, creatives, and entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's what the Sanford podcast is for. So my next question is for you is, and the reason I feel like I can get you to talk on this, because I feel like you really are an authority when it comes to art, and not only can attest to your years in, but I also can attest to what you produced. So where is the correlation, or where is the ties, or why is it important that let me back up, because this question is like, I feel like it's very, very, it's very 3-sided. So I'm gonna say this: is art spiritual?
Yes.
Okay. Now, second question: where do we find? I hope I'm asking this question. Where do we find spirituality in art, or how is people like how do, like, for instance, how would you say you came into art? When did you know that you love art? How did that path, or how did that journey begin for you?
Well, it started in junior high school. I took a sewing class, and my mother made most of my clothes, so I was always exposed to like fabrics and colors like that. But it's not until I remember the skirt I made, and it was a medium blue, almost turquoise, brushed cotton A-line skirt, and I can touch that fabric right now, even though it's not in front. And I just knew then, this is it for me. I like fabric, and I just started looking at things just very differently. And my sister was also into textile. She went to Drexel Institute and she studied pattern making, and she did a lot of things, and she was way beyond her time. And people did not understand her work, black or white. They did not understand her work. And so she kind of shied away, and she just went along with the mainstream of clothing and whatnot, but she was bored, you know. And it's just now she's in her 70s. I'm popping that button and making sure she's dealing with colors, and it's been very healing for her, and it's given her a new perspective, a new reason to be here, and to create beautiful stuff. I mean, and her stuff is just beautiful in a very different kind of way. And anybody that sees her work, they're like, wow. And it's a wow. So, but moving from junior high school, I remember I made this little pink jumper. And I had a boyfriend. His name was Lewis. And the guys used to wear those sweaters. I think they call them blyes or something like that. Right. And we agreed to have on pink. Well, I didn't quite constructed that jumper very well, but you couldn't tell me nothing. I had my pink jumper on. I think the straps were getting to fall off, but that's okay. And he had his pink bly, and people laughed at us, and I didn't care. See, that's when I knew I was going to be okay. That's when I knew I was different, and I was just always going to be different. I was going to be a trendsetter, and I stuck by that. So, but even though I say these things, I will tell you, I was an introvert during that. I was quiet, but I was always creative, you know, and I studied the healing arts. I knew at the age of 9 I was a healer, and I mean, just a lot of things. I saw colors, I saw auras, I saw all this stuff. I mean, that's just who I am. And so it translates into everything I do now. But I will say this, and I kind of we're going to deviate a little bit, but for me, the home has to be on. We do so much stuff in the street, putting on different mask faces or whatever. Not me, because I'm true to who I am.
When you say mask and face, what do you mean by that?
They put on they want to be politically correct. They want to see the nice things, so they're accepted.
I thought you were referring to people putting on makeup.
Well, that's another thing altogether. But people are not satisfied with what God gives them. But that's neither here nor there. They got to struggle with that demon. But people, I look at people and I see them running around, and they have all these.
Sorry about that interruption. You know, but our phones are now silenced. But yeah, getting back to what we were talking about. My question for you, Mom, was do you think the different generations that we have today, consider, you know, the older generation, the younger generation, do they have a different appreciation for art?
Yeah, and I think what is the younger people are trying to find their voice in art, but you know, they have an expression. The way out is to go back through. And so they need to revisit the ancestry aspect of art, which is so beautiful and so spiritual. And from there, they can develop a real voice that will have some tangible, what's the word I want to use? It's authenticity. It's just not something like, poof, oh, this is art. But there's no substance to it.
Right.
Where does it come from? Does it have a soul meaning to it? And everything should have a spiritual connection. Light or dark, it needs to have a spiritual connection.
Right.
So, if you came into my home, I'm telling you right now, you have no other choice but to relax. That's my humility, because I'm a humble woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I've gone into other people's homes and I'm like saying, what is going on here? And I find out there's confusion,
Wow.
there's strife,
Right.
so much anger, and it's reflected on what they do in the home.
All right.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, home is great. I mean, when I see people all fancy dancy in the street with all these clothes, I always say, what does your home look like? What does your home look like? And I know what it looks like. And I feel sad because everybody wants to have some peace. I believe. But they don't know how to go about getting it because they're caught up in the matrix. And I can't say anything more straightforward than that. They are caught up in the matrix. They do not honor themselves. They don't have a sense of purpose. They don't know what their soul mission is on this planet. And that's like spiritual stuff I'm talking about. But art for me is spiritual. Either when you go and you're looking at something, you're drawn to it or you're repulsed by it.
Yes.
Okay, and but you need to know who you are. You need to know what your standard is, because a lot of things out here will fool you,
Mm-hmm.
and you just have to know, and you just have to do that inner work to find out who you are, what your voice is, and just honor it. There's a lot of people out there like you and like me. Honor yourself. Just dare to be different.
When you say honor yourself, can you go a little in depth in terms of like honoring yourself even as an artist and developing your own voice or your craft?
Okay, so look at Art from the Planet.
Mm-hmm.
17 years ago, I started traveling to Central America. It's one of my power spots. That's another conversation about power spots. And literally, when I got off the plane and took my first breath, I knew that this was a place where I could rest. This was a place where I could pray. I do some of my best prayers when I'm in Panama. And I saw stuff that matched me. Okay? I just resonated with color.
Mm.
I resonated with the beadwork. And why is that? Because I'm Lakota Blackfoot, and we're known for beadwork here. I mean, it just all is so, it just mirrors each other. Right. So, and as I traveled through the different villages, as I went up the Chagras River, when I went into the Darien, when I went to Cherokee, I said, yeah, I get this. It just resonated with me. And so I decided that despite what was going on here in New York, this is who I was, and I was going to express it. I was definitely going to express my native culture. And that's it. I mean, you look at me, you say, oh, she's an African American woman. No, I'm not really African American. I'm Native American, and it just and it's fine, Whereas my sister, who looks more Native than I do, she identifies with her African roots. It's okay.
Right.
It's all diasporic experiences. It's fine.
I want to say something. One thing I came to realize was that I realized the importance, not just as people, but especially as artists, I realized the importance of traveling and how vital it is, how serious vital it is. And the reason I bring that up is because I remember you told me you told me about your experience when you first had hit the San Blas Islands and what that whole experience was like for you and how it had a profound effect on you as an artist, to see that you went to first off, San Blas Islands is like, I think it's like a compilation of 400 islands
Correct.
that
Correct.
make up these islands that are off the coast of Panama. Okay, and these are ran and governed by who?
By the Kuna women.
Women. Okay, women run the islands, the San Blas Islands, and based upon her experience as an artist, I could see that it did have a different effect and change on my mom, and she really put her foot to the pedal when it came to her craft after that.
This is so true. When I first got into, I've always been involved in fibers, and I am a quilter by trade, and I created a piece that traveled the United States for 5 years. It was part of the jazz quilt collection that Dr. Carolyn Maslumi put together, and many thanks for Carolyn trusting me and exposing me out there. But people came to me and said to me, "Oh, this looks like mola, Mola," and I'm, "What, mola?" So I decided to do some research, and I started looking at this stuff, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I am feeling this." It resonated with me. I also learned that the Kunas do not deal with outsiders at all. So I received an invitation to go to Panama to lecture at the University of Panama on the Underground Railroad quotes. And I graciously accepted. My mate and I went, and unbeknownst to me, I was going to walk into my ultimate blessing. And so the teacher came and said, "I have a surprise for you." And in this room were all Kuna women. Well, I cannot tell you that Susan Patterson cried because this was not supposed to happen in my mind. And once I got myself together, blew my nose, I said, "Let me tell you about the culture of our quilting in the United States as it has to do with slavery." And as I drew symbols, patterns, talked about color, the heads were nodding, yes, 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 yes. They understood. So the elder of the group said, "Senora Patterson, we will teach you. I'm the only American that's ever been taught by the Kuna Indians." And they asked how soon I could get back there. I was back in 8 weeks. And I was taken to one of the islands. And they draped my head in their colors. Red is in there. Okay, remember I talked to you earlier about the power colors. And they put beads around me. I was bare-chested. I was wrapped in cloth. And I learned how to rock the needle. Okay, and I always knew how to applique, but this is applique on a different level. And had such great appreciation for these people that took me into their lives. They trusted me. And they told me certain things I could divulge and certain things I can't. Most of the stuff we cannot divulge, but I'm going to be doing a documentary on June 4th. We'll let you know more about that. It's at a place in Harlem called the Raw Space. I'm going to be talking more about this, and we're going to actually be showing a little video that Brian and I did some time ago. It's called My Kuna Love Story. And it's some of the things I'm talking about today you'll hear there. But
I'll definitely leave a link in the description for anybody who would like to check out that video. It's a very, very, very beautiful video. I advise everybody to check that out.
So I've been going back and forth. I go there anywhere from 2 to 3 months for them to look at my work. and for them just to bless me. And I will always be forever connected with these people in so many different ways. And it's all about color. It's all about layers of life. And when I think about the mola, I say it's layers of life. It's amazing the work. But like I said, try to come out on June 4th. I will have some things I can show you. Some of the elders that are dying have willed certain pieces to me that I will never sell. And I pray to God my children will appreciate what I'm going to be leaving behind for them. It's just exquisite work, and it's so honorable. So, but I'm going to turn this back over to Brian, because I could just go in. I could drift into La La Land talking about Panama, because I see myself right there in that water and just being nurtured.
So let me ask you something. If you had to leave artists with one word or something that you wish that was told to you years ago that you had to learn on your own through your experiences, what is some words of wisdom that you would leave young, hungry artists who are now coming up, who are trying to seek their own independence and to make sure that they don't have anybody pimping off their work or any culture vultures that are trying to take their art and put their name all over it? What would your message to them be as young, hungry, inspiring, driven artists?
Be your truth. Be your light. Be in love with yourself. Be in love with people. But be your truth. Always seek higher grounds. I'm telling you, just still yourself. Meditate and ask for the truth. And the truth is going to come to you in various forms, but you will definitely find your art. You will find your art. Never be humble. Be humble. Never think you know it all. Don't be braggadocious, because you'll block your blessings. Remain humble. Stay in that light. You will do exceedingly well. And as an artist, I'm learning how to protect myself, because the vultures are out there. But certain things they just can't copy. They just can't. Okay? They can't. Decide if you want to pass it on and teach it. But definitely leave a message. And this is my message about being yourself, being your truth. Okay? And just walk in that spiritual realm. Walk in your beat. Honor that. Just honor yourself and who you are, and you will not go wrong. Do not worry about other people's opinion. It don't mean diddly squat. You have to be okay with you. That's what I would say.
Okay. I like that. And I think that those words definitely had a profound effect on me over the years, and me coming into my own set of shoes, or walking my path in terms of what I want to do, not only as a creative and an artist, but definitely as an entrepreneur as well. But I want to say this, and because it's getting pretty long now, we're gonna wrap it up pretty soon. But wrapping it up, where can they find you, and do you have any upcoming events going on?
Well, I do have a website, but I love my Instagram. I love my Instagram page, because that's where I'm always putting stuff up. And Brian and I shoot out some words of wisdom. But you're going to see Memorial Day weekend in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is my hub. I love Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn men. I mean, Brooklyn is sweet for me. But I'll be at BAM. at the medical center. And anybody knows Brooklyn, you know where the medical center. It's over there in Fulton and Lafayette. And I will be under the awning. I'll have a red tent. You hear me? Red. Red is there. And I'll be there on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I will be there. And again, come on out, have a conversation. If I'm not too busy, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to talk to you. And just let you know what time. I'm going to look in your eyes and talk to you. So I'll be happy to see you. I'm going to be happy to be out there. And this is like my first big show for the season. I do like maybe 4 shows, because otherwise I'm in the studio creating and thinking, meditating, experimenting, traveling a lot. But come see me there. And again, you're going to see me. I'll be at the Raw Space on June 4th. And then I'll be at International African Arts Festival in the Muntu section. You'll see me. And then I'm going to be doing some of the jazz shows and get up there and get some fresh air, some fresh fish. I'll be up in Rhode Island in August. And I don't know if I'm going to be doing Atlantic Antic, but we'll see. But I often go to the Gatson Gallery. Hey, Laura, give you a shout out, girl. I'm usually there twice a year and working on something. Oh, by the way, I do furniture. I didn't even talk to you about my furniture. I'm covering beautiful stools and cushions with Mola, and I'm telling you, it is So I may have 2 of my stools, bar stools, out this summer. Actually, next weekend, and I'm working on stuff. I can't quite make these things fast enough, but they're beautiful. There's a woman out in California who wants me to do a bedspread for her. That's going to be exciting. And just, I make it do what I got to do. I mean, it's about the home. It's about the colors. It's about the vibes. It's about spirit. That's who I am, Susan Patterson, Art from the Planet.
With that being said, this is Kanai. You are now listening to the Sanford Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Please enjoy your evening, your morning, or your afternoon, wherever you are. But definitely create in darkness and present your work in light. Okay? And enjoy the rest of your day.